All right, welcome back to Invest Like a Boss, another on-location interview. I'm excited to be here with one of the co-founders of Azure 3D Printed Homes. This is Gene Eidelman. Gene, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for coming.
Now, you mentioned it when I first got here, so we got to bring it up. There's a lot of ties to Ukraine on our show. Can you tell us about your background? You were born in Ukraine, correct?
Yeah, I was born in Kiev, and we came as refugees to this country after high school. So it's really sad to see what's happening in our country.
And all your family got out, and you guys are all here
all
now?
Our family got out, but lots of friends, lots of high school friends.
Sure.
Some of them I can't get a hold of. It really sends a shiver down my spine and just what's happening to our country. But we'll be ready to assist with rebuilding. Actually, I just had the exchange with the Ukrainian embassy here, and because our solution is going to be perfect. I mean, it's over 140,000 homes been destroyed or damaged, and we will need to figure out how to rebuild the country after we win.
Yeah, I think there's great potential here, and I believe that you guys are going to win. I think things are starting to turn a corner, hopefully. It's a really good sign, and we're all hoping for the best there. Can you tell us so you came to the U.S. in high school, you said, right?
After high school,
and
I came here to LA.
So what's kind of your background? I think you have a construction background. What got you from, coming to America to where you are now in your career?
Sure. Yeah, when I came from America, my first job was in a liquor store because I had no English. And that's where I got my name. My original name was Gennady.
Okay. So chop it down. So we ended up with Gene.
Exactly. And after working in a liquor store and odd jobs, I picked up English fairly quickly. I went to USC.
Awesome.
And started developing. What do you do when you come to America? You start developing real estate.
There you go. You're just like, what do all the rich people have? Real estate.
Exactly. What we didn't have in former Soviet Union.
Exactly.
So my brother and I started building. We built condos in West Hollywood and West LA. And then I moved to Atlanta and developed apartments and shopping centers. Then in the 90s and 2000, did a couple startups in the education business. I'm a great believer in education, offering opportunities. So we did a company called Prodigy Child Development, developed childcare centers on campuses of companies.
Oh, very cool.
And then charter schools around the country and
Nice.
around the world. So we did schools in Middle East, India, England. While I was doing all this, I always built buildings. So built buildings LA, Southeast, and then around the world, educational facilities.
So your first passion was real estate, and then obviously living here in LA, you're in I live in this area too. I live in Venice Beach, just down the road, and it's one of the most expensive places in the country. We definitely have a housing issue here. I think that maybe this idea was born because of what's happening, especially where we are, but across the whole United States, really, with housing. So what kind of problem is Azure trying to solve?
Sure. Being in construction business, you realize really three major problems. One is the industry uses methods that have been used 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. If Jesus would come back, the only thing he would recognize...
But you're still doing this?
He would recognize this industry. So, just not much changed.
Sure.
Right? Secondly, you see all the trash bins in front of every small construction project. The amount of waste
it's crazy,
is created. And then every time you use cement, for a pound of cement, you generate a pound of CO2. So there's just many environmental issues that we got to solve.
Speaking of that, it drives me crazy here, especially, I know this is kind of a local issue, but a lot of houses here, the value is so insane, especially in West Los Angeles, that someone will buy a multi-million-dollar house and just tear it down. You mean a perfectly good house because they want to build a $10 million house instead of a $5 million house. And it's so wasteful to me. It drives me crazy.
That's true. And just, one of the reasons costs are so high here and around the world is the construction costs are very expensive. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's not going to be solved if you're going to continue to do the same way. So that's the third issue, just issue of affordability and housing shortage. I mean, just in the U.S., the estimate's been 3.8 million to 7 million short houses. We have over 550,000 homeless. I mean, just for the country of our size, for the best country in the world to have that kind of house, people who don't have a home. So those are the three issues we've tried to solve. And really, our contribution to this is to build faster. We'll talk about it a little later. Mm-hmm. less expensive, really important, and then it was less environmental impact. Actually, it was positive environmental impact.
So let's talk about the printing situation. So you have multiple units now that will be online soon. And I'm a newbie to this 3D printing. I'm fascinated by it, but I still don't understand it. So we unfortunately couldn't look at the printer yet. I know it's still in development. How does this work? So as far as I know it from a novice standpoint is the printer will print small layers and it pretty much prints the entire exterior of one of your units. Right. Can you elaborate further on that?
Sure. So we use, the material is primary recycled plastic. We reinforce it with fiberglass to add rigidity to it. And you can think of a printer as like a toothpaste tube, right? Okay. You squeeze the tube,
and it molds it, right?
Okay. And it puts a layer, and we extrude it in high temperature, so it becomes semi-liquid, and then it forms fairly fast, right? So we print the whole structure of one of our units in one day. That is in itself improves the speed tremendously.
And how many humans are involved in this process of just building the exterior?
One human being.
One person.
One human can
that's
actually
the key advantage,
operate three.
Wow.
One human can build 3 units, right? So that's number one.
Yep.
Number 2 is material. We're actually now still paying for plastic, but as we increase volume, it should be given to us for free, right?
Exactly. The plastic waste, especially in the United States, is crazy. And if you're using recycled material,
right? So the cost of the material will come down. Eliminates all issues. You hear about supply chain issues. We don't use any wood. We don't use any metal. We don't use any roofing materials. We don't use any waterproofing. We don't use any sheathing. So we, in one print that takes one day, we save a bunch of trades, lots of cost, and much less labor. And after we print, so we basically print the roof, 2 walls, and the floor. And now the other 2 walls we custom finish. So
and I think one side is pretty much glass, pretty much. So that's easy.
Yeah, and the customer can choose all glass or no glass.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you about too. So what kind of customization options do I have? Is it like the Model T back in the day where you get one color, you get one finish, that's all you get?
First of all, you can get any color you want.
Okay.
It's very easy to add a color, so you literally can have any color you want. Very easy, you just drop a little color in there,
sure,
and it happens. But options are all glass, which is a little bit more expensive, or no glass. So in terms of affordable housing or housing for the homeless, it'll last longer.
Gotcha.
You want to have less glass, right? Couple of the lighting options, couple of the flooring options. On the inside, it's drywall, so it feels really. You saw it. It feels like a house.
Very
right?
nice, yeah. And the designs are super sleek.
Right. And on the outside, you don't need anything. Actually, I think that the look of the printed material,
it's super cool. I like it. I dig it a lot. We'll put a link to the site so everybody can check these out. I think the smallest units are 120 square feet, and eventually, I don't know if you're quite there yet, you'll be able to get to 900 square feet, which is a large, a nice little 1-bedroom home.
No, we're going to start printing before the end of the year, and our initial, we have plenty of orders for these small backyard studios, 120 square feet, because people can get them without a building permit. The only permit they need is for electric. So awesome. You really can, our vision is somebody can order it on Monday. We print the outside shell on Tuesday. We finish. We do all the electric, drywall, glass, Wednesday and Thursday, installed on Friday. So when you order, you better start working on the foundation.
That's amazing. I was telling you guys earlier, too, that I just ordered a new car, and they told me 6 to 8 months. So right. I can't even get a car, but you're telling me I can get a whole house.
Well,
not yet.
We also have a 6 months, but we will get there. I'm just convinced that it's gonna get there.
So I recently went to, I guess, what we call one of your competitors called Boxabl out in Las Vegas. Their approach was to take more on that auto assembly line basis. What advantage do you have in 3D printing over an assembly line?
Well, again, back to this one 3D print saving 6 trades. We don't need $1 billion plant.
Sure. Yeah. And your footprint is much smaller, and your capacity is going to be at least similar to what they can do now. It sounds like, higher. If not even higher.
And so our vision is we'll have micro plants. So we can do $100 million of sales a year with 4 micro plant facilities. One, of course, is here in Southern California. We envision opening one on the East Coast.
What are some of your kind of hot markets for demand right now? Obviously, Southern California.
Yeah.
Where else are you seeing?
And that's where majority of the demand comes from. But other markets are, any Sunbelt market where lots of people are moving.
Yeah.
But also all of the expensive markets. Think about, where
which is every market now.
labor expensive. Yeah. So you have Colorado, you have Northeast, Midwest. Kind of unexpected, but we have orders from 25 states. Alaska, Hawaii. We have orders from Canada and Costa Rica.
I think this is great for some of those more remote places like in Alaska, where it's like just try to find a construction crew, I think, to build it. Yeah.
But also, like, we have the same issue, like in Idaho, we have a customer who just talking about, she says, I can't get anybody to
No one works.
And the fact that we're near the port, so we can ship to Hawaii, Alaska, Central America, and they expect.
Very cool. So if I order a unit from Azure, what comes? Does it have all the fixtures, all the flooring, appliances,
completely
furniture?
It's all, furniture doesn't come.
Okay.
We have an option for a 180 square feet unit where you can install a cloud bed. The bed basically goes into the ceiling. You push a button, comes down.
Oh, cool.
That's an option. It makes it very. It can be your office. Mm-hmm. And your in-laws are coming or family coming, you push the button, it becomes a bedroom, right?
It's a good show, too.
Yeah. So we think that, again, Boxabl achieved a couple of incredible things. First of all, they raised a bunch of money at a huge valuation.
Their marketing is pretty fantastic. I'll give them that,
yeah. And then secondly, their contribution is to really solve the issue, how the unit folds and unfolds when it arrives to the site, right? Ours, our unit can be installed like 180 square feet in 4 hours. So
and it's all set up and it can fit on a standard semi truck, correct?
Exactly.
To ship.
Yeah, 2 of them can fit on the bed.
Very cool.
So but our contribution is, it really is positive environmental impact, not just zero impact. Yeah. Taking recycle. To make one of those units, one of the 100,000 empty bottles. To make a 2-bedroom unit, 500,000 empty bottles. We can really move the scale of recycling incredible just by ourselves.
I love that. I live right at the beach, and I just see all the plastic that goes in the ocean, and it makes me sick. So if it's going into an Azure, I think you should get it for free.
And then secondly, it's less expensive. Because again, that scale will be much more competitive because again, don't need a lot of material. Mm-hmm. And speed. Speed. Installation wise, any prefab manufacturer housing can be installed in one day. But how quickly we can make it in the factory is cannot be matched by anyone.
And what should the owner expect to have prepared when their unit arrives? Plumbing, electrical, foundation. What do they need to do?
They just need the foundation and connection to utilities. Okay. Our unit will have everything you need on the inside, and of course, paint it, drywall, floor, electric, plumbing, all done. And arrives, plug it in, and it works.
Great. So speaking of Boxabl, I asked them why they picked Las Vegas. They had some good answers for that. Los Angeles, obviously a huge financial hub. One of the biggest economies in the world is right here. Why LA, especially when there's a lot of talk of all the regulations and all the issues to make business even more difficult here? Why do you still feel LA is the best spot for you?
Well, we live here. Yeah. So that's a convenient reason. But really, there is so much demand. And with interest, like today, they're going to announce an increase in interest rate. Mm-hmm. And our orders have skyrocketed in the last 90 days. Because what happens is, first of all, individuals have lots of equity in their properties. With increased interest rates, instead of selling a house and buying something bigger at a much higher interest rate, much easier to just add to the house.
Get that extra square feet in the backyard, yeah.
30% of the people will continue to work remotely or part or full-time, so they need backyard offices. The ADU can add either space for your expanded family or as a short-term or a long-term rental.
Yeah, there could be, your 180 square foot unit, that could be a couple $1,000s a month here in Los Angeles, exactly. Easy. So California is just a unique market. It withstood previous
real estate crashes just
Yeah.
because there is so much equity in people's homes. So, but then we're also talking with we have a developer that's going to build a build-to-rent community in Ridgecrest, California, just about an hour and a half from here. So he's going to build 14 homes that are going to be available for rentals.
Yep.
That's great. Then we have a housing authority that we're negotiating to sell 60 of our units for folks who need a home.
So I'm glad you brought that up. The community is really interesting. What percentage are you seeing people actually putting these units on their existing homes in the backyard or where there's a primary house? And just essentially maybe what's to stop me from buying an empty lot and throwing it on that as well?
Yeah. Right now, 60% of our sales are to individuals for their own property and 40% for developers.
That's actually higher than I thought. So that's really interesting.
It is high. Yeah. Ultimately, I think the mix is going to be 20-80. I think 20% is still going to be individuals and 80%. We have so much interest from... we have a mayor of a town in North Carolina that ordered 7 units.
Oh,
affordable
wow. Yeah.
housing.
Very cool.
Developers have talked glamping resorts. I mean,
that's a good call. Yeah.
I mean,
that makes 100%
we have
sense.
a developer in San Diego who bought 5 units. We have a developer in Big Sur. We have a developer.
I didn't even think about the tourism aspect of it. That makes 100% sense.
So there is so much demand that people ask, well, how are you going to be affected by increasing interest rates? It just seems like there are some sectors of the market that are not getting affected.
And to be honest, your price point is low enough where I think a lot of people can pay with cash with this, so it's not such an issue.
And the financing is readily available. On our website, they can get financing right there.
Well, since we're talking about it, let's talk about pricing. What are you starting at?
So one of these backyard studios starts at $26,900. Mm-hmm. Again, 20 to 30% less than comparable market.
And again, less than the car I ordered.
Right.
So.
Right. The studio, the Iris, which is 180 square feet with a bathroom and a kitchen, is $43,900. Probably less than the car order. Right. So very reasonable. Our most popular units are these 180 square feet and 900 square feet. We have lots of work. So those are the two most popular. And I really think that some of them are going to be used as a house.
Yeah, 900 square feet is definitely, for a single person at least, is enough space.
Or it can, in California, up to 1,200 square feet, you can have an ADU.
So let's talk about permitting, because I think it was maybe a year or two ago, California made it a lot easier to add an ADU. Permitting was always an issue in California. Now it seems like they've kind of opened the door for that. Yeah. You said under 120 square feet, you don't need any permit at all, which is
you just need electric if you use electric.
Sure, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. What other kind of hurdles should a homeowner kind of expect with permitting?
Yeah. So, in addition to it's gotten much easier to receive permits for ADU, we make it even further simpler because it is factory built. It'll come as an insignia, so we will get approval from the state of California so you don't need a building permit. The only permit you need is for foundation grading and utilities. So there, the state requires cities to give a 30-day approval for something like this. So again, you have to be realistic. If it's on the hill,
yeah, sure.
And plus, you need to have big enough lot to be able to put it. So there is some setback. Setback requirements are much easier now. Only 5 feet from other property, 10 feet from your house. So,
it sounds a lot simpler than it used to be.
So we can help people find an engineer who can help them with a permit, and lots of people know people in their own community who can do that.
So how many pre-orders do you have so far, and what's kind of the wait time on the books? I know you're not quite to production phase yet, but it's right around the corner. Yeah. If I put an order in today, how long would you expect?
Yeah, you can, depending on what size. If you were to put a pre-order for the backyard studio, you can expect it in about 3 to 4 months. Okay. If you were to put an order for a larger unit, about 6 months. And in about 9 months, we will triple the capacity. So
great.
So we will turn 3 units a day. So I don't expect, again, we're a little bit more, I don't want to call it selective, but just more strict with our orders. From some competitors, you can just mark that you want it and you go on the list, and the list's huge. We require a small refundable deposit. So we think so. We have
so how much do I got
for $15.7 million. So
you got $15.7 million in pre-orders right now. And how much do I have to put down to hold my reservation?
$100.
$100, easy. Yeah. Okay. And is there any way to kind of hop the line if I put more down?
They really can't.
Okay.
I mean, we really are going to hold it. I mean, yeah, we'll offer. I mean, people have been waiting. Some of them already play. We start. We kind of knew that we can do it back in January, February.
Yep.
So some people have been waiting for a long time.
Sure.
Right? So it'll be totally unfair to them to put them in the back of the list.
Totally makes sense.
But if we go to somebody and say we're ready to deliver and they're not ready, then we'll go to the next person on the list. So that just makes sense.
Great. So obviously we're an investment podcast. There is an investment aspect to Azure. I think we'll take a quick break and then we'll jump in to talk about that and more with Gene in a second. All right, back here. Let's talk about the investment side of Azure. So you guys are running an active investment on your site right now. Can you tell us a little bit about how much you've raised so far and what you're looking to achieve?
Sure. So we've raised a total of $1.75 million. The crowdfunding site is republic.com/Azure, and we're actually closing that raise on October 2nd, so in just about 10 days.
Okay.
So this is an opportunity to invest at this. We have a very low value, $24 million valuation. The other company you mentioned has a $3 billion valuation. So
Sure.
it's a good deal.
Yeah, much lower.
Yeah.
Speaking of Republic, we've actually had them on the show quite a few years back, but episode 40, if any of our bosses want to go back and check out more about Republic. How's your experience with them been so far?
It's been very positive. We have 340 investors from 42 states and 18 countries, or 20 countries, I'm sorry. We would never be able to reach out. I mean,
Sure.
It really is a way to democratize the process of investing. I mean, and I'm just so impressed by diversity of investors and the quality of questions. When you go on our site, take a look at some of the questions. I mean, clearly, these folks are doing it for a living. This is not amateurs.
And I should mention that you guys are really good about answering those questions too, because I read through that thread, and I've looked at some other ones, Republic or Start Engine, wherever they may be. And some of these companies just totally disregard people asking questions,
Wow.
and you guys are on it. You're giving out good answers.
What we find is that many of the investors now pre-ordering the units.
Sure.
And the same goes to yours. Some people learn about the units and we offer them about investment, and they believe in it. So
I should mention that too. I noticed there's a bonus if you do actually invest in Azure. You can get a discount on a unit.
yeah. If you get $25,000 investment, you get 5% discount. So you get half of your investment back if you buy a unit. So it's a real incentive for people who believe in it. And I now have friends all over the country. I'm going to be going to Buffalo in about 3 weeks. I emailed one of the investors in Buffalo. He said, Gene, come and talk to startup founders in Buffalo on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I just been so impressed. Crowdfunding used to have kind of a bad vibe about it.
Yeah, and I think we're past that now.
We're past that, and also VC funds are going to be ready to invest in our next round.
Yeah,
and they look at this as very positive because it's
If you watch like Shark Tank, I love Shark Tank. They're always a lot of them do crowdfunding campaigns and they ask what they did, and then when they exceeded their goal. All the sharks are impressed by that. It's not like a bad word to say crowdfunding anymore.
No, not at all. And again, some of our investors, we have lots of people who invest minimum of $250, but we also have a $30,000 investor, $25,000 investor. So you really get a nice diversity. Some people are like, we have a woman from Arizona. She sells prefab homes.
Yeah.
I mean, so just it. You always look in investors, not just the money. What else can they contribute? And this incredible people that are becoming part of our company.
It's a good way to have connections to other things too.
They're going to help us grow. So
exactly.
I'm just very excited about what we're able to.
So really low threshold to get in. $250 is the minimum.
Right.
And I'm assuming since the minimum is that low, you don't need to be an accredited investor.
Correct. Which
is always a huge bonus for us. Everyone complains.
Yeah.
I love this investment, but I need to be accredited. So, do you need to be a U.S. citizen to invest?
No. That's it. All these folks from around the country are investing, and they can't. So, no.
Very cool. Do you know what kind of commissions and fees are being taken out of the investment through Republic?
Yeah, I think it's like 6%. But whoever you raise it with, it's going to be. So it really is minimal. It's very fair. I mean, it's fair for the investors, and it's fair for the company.
Yeah, so you got to move really fast if you want to get in on this. It is October 2nd is the cutoff. Hopefully you can extend it, or another round is coming soon.
We're not going to extend. We really are feeling that by this time we'll have enough money to get our manufacturing started. And once we start producing the units, our valuation is going to skyrocket. I mean, again, don't know how much, but
sure.
It will be. So it's a really good time. You really are going to be coming in at the ground floor.
Very cool. So if you guys want to check that out, we'll give you links to the investment side of Azure as well. Before we get out of here, what do you see the future of Azure? So what's the expansion plan? You can go up to 900 square feet now. Do you see maybe large scale homes, multifamily homes? What's kind of the future of Azure after you get the initial ones going?
Yeah. Two things. First of all, a lot of people are asking for bigger homes, and maybe 1,400 square feet. So that's easier to accomplish. And then some people would like to have go vertical, couple stories up high. Again, our unit's been designed to do that. I used to build apartments, so I know how to do vertical. But we're just taking it one step at a time. There's so much demand for what we have right now.
Yeah.
We expect that in about a year and a half, we'll be able to do 2-story homes.
Very cool. And where should listeners go to if they want to buy a unit or invest? AzurePrintedHomes.com is the website. Anywhere else they should check out? Any other resources?
No, that's the best resource. All the information they can order online. They can obtain finance. They can apply for financing with our partner Acorn Finance, and some people do. And they can. We're also local. So if somebody wants to come out and see the unit, just like what you did, they can just email me. I live 10 minutes from here, so we can show the unit or meet with folks. So very easy.
And I did a quick tour. Bosses, if you guys want to check out the video, I'll put the link in there. Patreons have had access to that for a couple weeks. So another reason to join Patreon here to get early access. So if you can't make it out to LA, I got a quick preview of it. They are still in the early stages. I'm hoping to come back and I can see that printer soon, Gene.
I'd love to show it to you.
All right. Thanks for taking the time to come on and Invest Like a Boss.
Thanks so much for coming.